Corfin march on, winning yet another Connacht club title. I'd say once again it only adds to the fact that they're the All-Ireland, the major threat left at this point, beating Padraig Pearse's 110 to 7 points. Liam Silk, absolute crucial player yet again. Remember a couple of years ago he scored that goal against Moorfield. Yet again he steps up here.
Yeah, and kind of we mentioned in last week's show, they're kind of just seem like they're coming to the bite at the right time. They're not playing particularly spectacular football. Conditions don't really allow, but conditions in Croke Park at the end of January will allow for football, proper open football, and if they're there, they're going to be very, very hard beaten. They've done exactly what you'd expect them to do, despite the fact that they're going for 3 in a row of All-Irelands, which is an unbelievably hard thing to do, especially mixed in with the amount of lads that they have involved with Galway as well, between Kieran Malloy, Ian Burke, etc. They did what they had to do yesterday again. They always kind of had Pearse's at arm's length, and they could go and do something really, really special in January.
And what stood out to me is like Gary Sice, of course, came up with a couple of scorers. Michael Farher, Jason Leonard. But Micheál Lundy was held scoreless. Martin Farher scoreless. Ian Burke scoreless. They still put up 110. They're just a team that's going to find a way to do it, I think.
Yeah, and they're like, as I always kind of reference back to that great Kilkenny team in the 2000s. One lad does it on a given day and maybe another lad doesn't, but there's always different lads to stand up. They've got that sort of quality in the forward line where Ian Burke doesn't have to kick 3 points or doesn't have to kick 1-2 every game. A lot of the time he takes attention of a really good defender and maybe the eyes of another defender because they know he's very dangerous, so somebody else kind of prospers as a result of that.
I was watching Eire Og against Portlaoise on Saturday night, and as the game was going on, I was like, this Eire Og team is serious. Like, Eire Og came out on top in Portlaoise against the team that's won 12 of their last 13 county titles. That goal from Chris Blake, I don't know if you saw it at the start of the game, but it was just one of those things whereby he collected the ball around the 21, ran to the edge of the 14 and just absolutely blast. It's the sort of shot you'd only really take on when you're kicking around at the start of training. Blasted in off the post and in. And it just felt like this team is a proper team. Now, I spoke to Gordon Manning of the Irish Sun about the Garrycastle coming up short against Ballyboden, St. Enda's. This is what he had to say. 1, 2. It's kind of known for a while. What's the scores again? 3-14. Okay. Did you see Portlaoise Eire Og?
No.
That's grand. I saw it. Okay. Gordon Manning, you were at the Ballyboden against Garrycastle game at the weekend, Leinster Club semi-final. Finished 3-14 to 0-12. Are Ballyboden that good?
Well, it was probably their most complete performance in this campaign, which is saying something given the fact they're unbeaten in league and championship in Dublin. But what they did on Sunday was they put a kind of performance together for kind of more or less most of the game, whereas even in the Dublin Championship they struggled in some of the games, they blew hot and cold. On Sunday though, down in Mullingar, like from the outset they controlled the game, they dominated, and physically the conditioning of them, they just looked at a different class to Garrycastle.
And was it just that Garrycastle couldn't quite score, couldn't get the ball up the field? What was it for them that that things came up short?
Yeah, well, John Keane is the coach with Garrycastle, a former Westmeath player, and he said afterwards that they just didn't get to the level that they thought they would themselves. But I think really it was that Ballyboden kind of imposed themselves on it. I mean, even the guys that Ballyboden were bringing off the bench, the conditioning of them, like, was just, they looked like two different, like the team that Ballyboden sent out were just so much bigger and stronger, and then the guys that could introduce again after that, they just from the off, Garrycastle couldn't live with them. And Dessie Dolan finished as Garrycastle's top scorer, 40 years of age, like, so up front he just didn't have enough punch.
And who for Ballyboden really stood out? Like, the Baskels have kind of lit up the year. Colin Baskell, I suppose, especially Michael Darmacauli's in midfield. Darren O'Reilly's someone I've been impressed with all year. Who stood out for you?
Well, Robbie McDade yesterday in particular. He punched forward the whole time. He got the goal in the 6th minute, which after that goal it was kind of game over. But McDade, he controlled the game, and they just couldn't get near him when he punched forward. I think he finished with 1-1. Michael Darmacauly didn't actually start the game. They're kind of just minding an injury there, where he came on late on, but by that stage the game was over. They were able to bring in Conal Keeney, so they've strength and depth. As you said rightly, Collie Pascal has probably been their outstanding player, their outstanding forward. Finished with 1-3 yesterday. not as prolific as he has been in other games, but they didn't need him. Their scoring rate was, I think, it was 85%. Return rate from scoring, so like they didn't miss much. It was their best performance so far, and Anthony Rainbow is very happy.
Yeah, and then they're going to meet Eire Og in the Leinster final. These are All Ireland champions just a couple of years ago. Do you give much hope to Eire Og, who they were very, very good against Portlaoise, I must say?
Yeah, like I wasn't surprised Eire Og won that game insofar as far as if you look at their results, going back to the semi-final in Carlow, I think they conceded 5 points. I think it was 5 again in the final. I think was it 9 points, 1-9 against Sarsfields, Kildare or Castletown and Wexford. Like their concession at the back, they've been really tight. They were defensively very solid side. So I don't think that was a massive surprise. They'll fancy a cut off them. As we were saying at the start of this, like Ballyboden, they have blown hot and cold in matches, and particularly if you remember the Nafina game, they were very lucky that night in the Dublin Championship. So like they haven't really, punched to their level that people think they can get to. Sunday was the first glimpse that we got that, okay, these guys are going to take some stopping. But absolutely, Eire Og will fancy their chances.
And then one final thing. Dublin clubs had won 6 of 7 Leinster titles up until the past 2 seasons when Longford and Kildare teams won it. So should that give Eire Og a little bit of kind of inspiration?
Well, it can, yeah. But I mean, it's been some, the Carlow Rising moniker comes back to into mind now when you look at Carlow have a team in the hurling final and a team in the football final.
I know it well.
Indeed. So look, Eire Og have pedigree as well behind them. It's not as if they're a fairy tale Mullinachta story in that regard. So they have pedigree. You would feel though that Ballyboden probably have, on the basis of what they can introduce, not just what they're starting, they probably have a bit more. But I mean, just come back to Sunday's game, like one of the other big stories from the match was the swan song for Dessie Dolan. I mean, 40 years of age and still kind of finished with 7 points, still had it. And there was one particular moment in the second half where Bob Dwan was marking him and Ballyboden selector come over to have a word with him on the sideline. And Dessie did a double take. Ran off the inside into the middle of the field, took a quick pass, and they got it free, and he popped it over the bar. So you don't catch your street smarts after 20 years of football. I mean, you've learned nothing. But yeah, look, he's been a great servant. He got a standing ovation going off the field, and I think for one of Westmead's greatest ever servants, it was a worthy final finale for him that he at least finished personally with a strong performance.
Cheers, Gordy. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Shane.
But coming back then to Eire Og, I just think it's going to be very hard to see them beating that Ballyboden side. But still in all, this is a team with tradition, 5 county titles behind them, plenty of quality on the field, and Portlaoise ended up, I think, panicking towards the end of the game.
It would have been very hard to see Mullinachta beating Kilmacud last year as well. So things are set up perfectly for them. The Eire Og turnaround is phenomenal. I think they had a couple of lads sent off against Mullinachta last year.
2, I think earlier.
Was it 17 points they were beaten by? Yeah. In all fairness, still, that's a huge deficit to be kind of turning around in the way they have this year. They always had the upper hand against Portlaoise realistically, and while they'll be massive underdogs again, they will fancy their chances. And it's amazing to think that, and what odds would you have gotten on 2 Carlow teams been in the 2 senior provincial finals between hurling and football, with Mullins is in the hurling. We always keep talking, and people are nearly fed up of at this stage of this Carlow Rising. But that's a fair achievement, given the amount of clubs in hurling and football, and the base that they're coming from, and the amount of players that they have available to them. It's a serious achievement.
We'll try and touch on a load of different fixtures that happened over the weekend. So kind of going to pull them from hither and yon here, and not necessarily in any order. But I just noted that on Saturday, the junior semi-final in the Munster Football Championship, Mullinahone beaten Croom of Limerick. And I would say Mullinahone, not necessarily a Gaelic football stronghold. I think Owen Kelly's been injured recently. Himself and Paul Kelly are involved. All the Currans are involved. But just looking at Jerome O'Connell's updates, he was saying Croom were 8-4 ahead at half time, then 6 scores in a row from Mullinahone put them ahead, and then I think Croom were 110 to 1-8 ahead with 5 minutes to go, but Tipperary just nudged ahead late on with Alan Curran with a winning goal. It's kind of like there's plenty of these stories of a team that should be strong in one code somehow getting it done in the other.
Tullamore to me would be a classic example in Offaly. When Tullamore hurlers aren't going well, the footballers usually going well, and vice versa. So when one code is maybe finished, a load of lads that maybe were predominantly hurlers, as in Mullenhone's case, get to try their hand at football that they've always probably played to a certain level growing up, but now they're just focusing their attention on that. And you see kind of what can happen when that does happen. There was an interesting tweet that you had here. Paul from Tip replied to Mullinahone GA. He said, Owen Kelly diving header last minute to win it has to be. Do you know, and that's
Everyone wants that.
Yeah, when everyone would think of Mullinahone, Owen Kelly would be the name that to think of, but they can obviously kick the big ball as well.
They're going to get battered in the Munster final, though, unfortunately. I think it seems a bit of an inevitability, and we've talked about the strength of the Kerry football teams down the ranks, and the knock-on effect of having these divisional teams mean that you're going to have stronger teams playing in division beneath. But Nagale, who have Jack Barry and Diarmuid O'Connor, 2 county panellists in the team, they absolutely battered the life out of Michael Cusack's 320 to 2 points. Yeah. That was just you just wonder what's the point when you see a result like that. And even that goes back to the structure of Kerry, the fact that they've got a team that probably should be up at intermediate level competing at Munster Junior.
Yeah, it is very tough, and you'd hope it wouldn't take any of the achievement or the lustre off winning a county title when you're finishing your season in that sort of a way. But they're just, like, Kerry clubs invariably are just so much better at junior and intermediate level. The standard is so much higher. But as I said, the ranking of that team within their county, like, it's not that far down when you go down the pecking order, because the championships are quite tightly packed with teams. So, like, Nagale are in the Gael junior or intermediate? Junior. So they're probably like 20 something of the best teams in Kerry, but that standard is still very high, and the club championship in Kerry is at a very, very high level down through every grade. So, like, they're going to be very, very hard beaten. But we're not talking about Munster, we're talking about for All Ireland. Yeah. They're heavy All Ireland favourites.
Well, much like Temple No are in the intermediate in Munster also. Looking at the Leinster Intermediate Football Championship, so it's going to end up being Mattock Rangers of Louth against Mullinavat of Kilkenny. So actually, just a feature of a tweet from Mattock Rangers. They put out the final score in the game against Dunlavin, 217 to 9 points, and then it's hashtag here we go again and at Jerry Cinnamon. So, is that the She's a Belta song?
I'd say so, yeah. No one could have predicted, no one would have predicted Mullinavat to be in that situation, and it's a fair achievement for them in all honesty, and it's not junior championship they're in like Leinster Intermediate Club Football Final, which is a very, very, very high standard. It's a massive achievement for them. But again, Mullinavat would be a very good senior hurling side. They've had attentions off hurling for the last probably 6 or 7 weeks, so they've just been able to give it to the big ball, and again, you kind of see what they can do with it.
And winning, not just winning, but winning well against Rosenallis of Laois, 210 to 17. For Mullinavat, I get the sense that with most Kilkenny clubs that go through, and having spoken with Wally Walsh last year, it was kind of like once they started to get pretty far, he was like, okay, we better start training now. And I get the sense that Mullinavat are kind of like, are we actually still in this competition? Like, they obviously have quality, but that they're not taking it as seriously as some of the other teams in here, where it's kind of life and death, where there's like, we'll try our hand at the football, and they're still going.
Which can be a positive, because they're probably going out after every match really enjoying themselves. They're just going from one match to the next. I'm sure they're doing a training in between, but they're enjoying going out. There's no pressure. And sometimes, a lot of the time, you play your best when you're kind of not in that pressure zone. Not that doesn't mean anything to them. I'm sure it means a lot to them, but they just don't feel pressure. They don't feel as much pressure as the other side, and that's why it'll be interesting when they play Mattock Rangers. If it's a tight game, the team that is expected to win, which Mattock Rangers are, against the team that is not expected to win and are just playing maybe a bit more off the cuff. So it'll be interesting to see.
And it's not to do down the teams that have lost to Mullinavat either.
They're a good side. They're a good side, obviously.
Well, and like, even if this is not the number one priority in Mullinavat, they've still got a load of players that play adult hurling with their club that are good. They have Willie O'Dwyer in there, who's probably won 4 or 5 All-Irelands with Kilkenny. A couple other guys who are in on the panel. So it's not to do them down. You're up against good players. It's just they probably don't care as much. And like, I even know some lads, one lad who was like competing in this same competition, and he was kind of like, like, maybe the opposition manager came in and congratulated him afterwards, and then he'd walk out and the Mullinavat players might even be just kind of laughing at You know, it's that kind of thing that they're almost laughing at. I can't believe we're still in this situation. The other team taking it so seriously. But maybe I have a small bit of the wrong end of the stick here. Have I?
There's a great story about when Borough won the junior football title. I think it was 2001, and it was Eden Derry. They were playing Eden Derry's second team, and Eden Derry, like, proper football stronghold, take their football very, very seriously. Our lads had won maybe the senior hurling title, could have even won a Leinster title or been competing in Leinster at the time, and had done like shag all training realistically. And like 20 minutes before the match, Johnny Pilkington was out smoking a fag outside the dressing room and this kind of crack, and Burr went on and won 2-4 to 9 points, and Johnny Pilkington was voted Offaly Junior Footballer of the Year. Do you know what I mean? Like, all those lads would have been naturally talented, but would just never have put the same time into football. And it is a sickener when you're coming from a football stronghold and football is your number one game, to be beaten by a team that's only kind of throwing their hand at it. But it'll be interesting to see how that final goes.
What about the All-Ireland ladies football final at the weekend? So Mourneabbey 2-9 Kilkerran Clonbyrne from Galway 14 points. So Mourneabbey back on top.
Yeah, and after all the heartbreak that they had, they were kind of the nearly team up until last year. And we've talked about this so much in the show throughout the year, of when a team gets over the line and eventually gets over the line, how much of a release it is. Now Mourneabbey are winning these tight games that they wouldn't have won before. And Kilkerran Clonbyrne, who have suffered a load of hardship in semi-finals in particular in the last couple of years, they're still the ones trying to get there. I was chatting to Shane Ronan on Thursday just about the game, and he kind of said, I said, like, has winning one like giving you the thirst? And he just says, when you win one, you get that taste. If you have a competitive squad, you get that taste, and you just want two and you want three. They've gone on and win two now, and like, by all accounts, Noelle Healy was added to their squad this year. Obviously, player of the year in 2017. She had a massive influence, kicked 2 points, and had a crucial hand in the 2 goals that they got as well. So like, but they've gotten over the line again, and now they're getting closer to being remembered like the Carnacons and being remembered like the Dunamines of the ladies football game. By all accounts, it was a really, really good game, real dramatic at the end. It was strange. Mourneabbey had the ball with about 20 seconds left, and they were kind of ball going through the hand, and someone actually kicked the ball from about 50 yards in, and you're kind of hands on the head thinking, why did you kick the ball away? Would you not have went through the hands or whatever? But they kicked it into Laura Fitzgerald, who made a great catch and kicked it over the bar over her shoulder for the winning score. And it must be an unbelievable feeling, especially with the hooter system, when there's 10 seconds left, the ball has just gone over the bar, and you're 10 seconds while the match is going on, and it's physically impossible for you to lose the game. There's no way the ball can be worked down in 10 seconds when it's just after going over the bar. So it must have been an unbelievable position for them. There was bonfires and everything last year. I'm sure they went wild again this year.
And then the intermediate club final for the ladies at Breffni Park up in Cavan, Naomh Kieran beat St. Paul's 2-11 to 2-9.
Yeah, Naomh Kieran from Offaly. This is the first time an Offaly team has won a ladies football All-Ireland of any kind. By all accounts, they were heavy enough favourites going in, but they came from behind to win it. A couple of crucial substitutes, Roisin Egan, who's playing camogie for St. Rynas, and she's going for an All-Ireland on both sides with St. Rynas and Naomh Kieran, along with Kate Kenny. Roisin came on and made a big difference, and there was another sub came in and made a massive difference as well, got a goal. But again, we talked about her on the show last week, Kate Kenny. She only just gone 18, voted Offaly Ladies Player of the Year for 2019 a couple of weeks ago. She won the Camogie and the Ladies Football Award the year previous at 17, is doing her Christmas exams at the moment, and kicked 8 points, 4 from play. And even a better story on that as well is her father Mick is the manager, and her brother Colin, who was an unbelievable prospect, went for AFL trials, played club rugby with Ireland, but had basically an irregular heartbeat, had to essentially finish sport at 16. He came back, played brief cameos with Ferban. He could only play 20 minutes, and he ended up winning the championship and been voted Player of the Year. That's how talented he is. He's the coach. His sister, who he drives down to Ferban, they have a light for the generator in Ferban. She goes down and kicks frees when she's finished her study at 9 o'clock at night, and they ended up winning the All-Ireland. So it's Doon, Shannon Bridge and Ferban all together. Massive scenes the other day. I watched the home coming into Doon, Martins and Doon. My cousin actually owns Martins and Doon, and the place has gone mad, fireworks everywhere, and just shows Lorraine Keena is 30 years old. She's the oldest player on the team. I think there might be one other girl at that age. The next oldest is 22. And then they're all younger. They're going to be, maybe not next year or the year after, but they will be competing very, very closely at senior level next couple of years. They've won Féiles, they've won Schools All-Ireland. Just a really outstanding bunch led by Kate Kenny, just absolute superstar.
And as if Rena Buckley needed any more silverware. They win the Junior Club All-Ireland. Dunamore won 12. Michael Rovers won 11 after extra time. So she's done it again.
I think she kicked 7 points as well. Like, yeah, and she's like, I don't. You'd love to bottle what people like her have, the likes of her and Breach Corkery. Like they've no reason to like go to the end of the world to win another medal, but they always do. It's just in their nature.
What else are you going to do? If you're in it and you've done it for 25 years or whatever, what else are you going to do?
That's true. When you're used to winning, you just, it's almost like a drug for you, I suppose, and you crave it no matter what level it's at. But yeah, an unbelievable win for them as well after extra time. Pure drama there as well.
So that's it for Club Talk Football. If there's anything we missed, message at Emil Verney or at Shane Saint on Twitter, and don't forget to follow us on YouTube.
That actually worked out well.
Yeah.